everyone, good evening and welcome to the How Can I Support My Child series. If you are here, I am Holarina Hugh. How are you doing? It's a beautiful Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I love Fridays. If you're like me, then you love Fridays too. All right, welcome to the show. I am sorry we couldn't have the show yesterday because we had horrible network issues. Like our primary network went out completely. There was nothing we could do. We had started, did every other thing, and then the other one was not really reliable. And so we didn't want to start something and then we have to start, apologizing in the middle, and all of that. So, yes, if you are here, then welcome to the show today. Let me see. Just doing. Did every other thing and then the other one was. Sorry about that. Just trying to do a bit of housekeeping. Um, if you are with me, I need you to let me know that you have joined me. You are a part of this session right now. If you are with us, if you are not here, if you have someone who needs to be here, why don't you go ahead and invite them or tag them? If you're on Facebook, tag a friend, tag a parent of a young person or a preteen. If you are on YouTube, share a link with them. When we come here to answer questions that parents ask about how they can support their children. And today we are going to be answering another question. And the question is, how can I teach my child using their learning style? I know that a lot of us have heard over and over again, we're beginning to get more, knowledge, more and more knowledge is, becoming available to us, right? So for those who are willing to pay attention or those who are willing to listen, you must have heard that our children learn differently. Okay, if you're paying attention, you should know that each of your kids learn differently. If you're paying attention, you will notice that. Okay, and it is simple. If your child is learning in a language, or if your child is made to learn in a language that the child does not understand, the child is likely going to struggle. All right. But if the child is taught in a language that the child understands, then the child will understand, right? It'll be easier for the child to learn whatever it is that the child is being taught because it is being taught in a way that the child understands, or the child is allowed to interact with that concept, the knowledge, right? And whatever it is that the child is being taught or is being pointed to at the time, the child is allowed to access it in a way that the child understands. Now, when this happens, then the learning gap, right? The learning gap is easily surmounted, right? When it is done in a way that the child can comprehend, then the child learns faster, right? When it is done in a way that the child comprehends, then the child enjoys that learning. All right. So, and this is how learning actually happens, like real authentic learning. Authentic learning happens when the person is getting a sense of satisfaction from what it is that they are being taught. It happens when the person can comprehend, the person knows what you're saying, understands, and can follow what you are saying logically, can wrap it around their head, and can make some sense out of it. And of course, that comes from, when you understand or when you can follow, the process. All right. So if you are speaking a language that the child does not understand, chances are the child is going to struggle. All right. And then, of course, if the child is learning in a way that they understand, it means that the child gets to learn in a shorter period because now the child is in sync, or the child can connect with what you are saying, or the child can relate what you are saying, right, in a way that allows them to learn. All right. So when all of this is in place, then we have learners who are learning. See, and there are no dull children. There is really no dull child. What we have is children who are misunderstood, or children whose style of learning has not been identified by the people who care for them. So when the primary caregivers do not understand how the child learns, the child is likely going to is not going to learn, right? When the primary caregivers do not understand how the child learns, then the child is probably not going to be interested in that learning, because it's like speaking Greek to the child. I mean, take for instance, you don't speak I mean, look at it this way, that you don't understand Hausa or Yoruba, Mandarin or French, whatever. You don't understand these languages, and you find yourself in a classroom where you are being taught in this language. You will struggle, because what it means is you are not able to follow whoever is teaching you. All right? If you're not able to follow whoever is teaching you, you're not able to comprehend what they are saying. Now it becomes difficult for you to understand the concepts that they're trying to share. It becomes difficult for you to follow through with whatever activity they're asking you to do. It becomes difficult for you to respond right to that learning or to that teaching, because you do not comprehend what the person is saying. Do you know it's that bad for some of our children when we teach them in a language or in a way that they do not understand or they do not comprehend? So, what is important is that as parents, even as their teachers, right, that we understand or we try to identify how our children learn. So that's the first thing. First thing first is to pay attention and see how your children do the things that they already do or they enjoy doing. So it starts with the activities that the children do at home. That's why you want to create an environment that is stimulating in your home. You want to create a stimulating environment in your home that will allow the child play alone, that will allow the child play in group with the siblings, that will allow the child, explore with you. Now, when you do this and you pay attention, or you start watching the child, you will begin to figure out how the child, enjoys, how the child learns when the child is first of all alone, or how the child does or goes about the things that they do when they are alone. All right, so pay attention to that alone time. Okay, that time where the child is playing by themselves. All right, those self-play moments. All right, pay attention. All right, when your child is by themselves. Now what you will see is the child is going to, when the child is by themselves, it means that the child calls the shots. It means that the child will interact with whatever he or she is interacting with in their environment in a way that they can enjoy what they are doing, or in a way that they can comprehend or understand what they are doing. So when you catch that child in their alone moment, you would actually see how they interact with the things in their environment. So when I teach, my team and I, when we work with toddler parents, one thing that we always say to the toddler parents is, learn how to invite your child to play. Learn how to invite your child to play by creating your curriculum. What is it you want the child to learn? What is it that you want when you wake up each day? All right, even for your child who is a toddler, your child who hasn't even gone to school yet. All right, you want to make sure that every day in your child's life is a learning opportunity. Remember, if you're following me, you must have heard me say that from the day your child is born, nature's mandate is to ensure that your child becomes independent. From the day the child is born, God's plan is that the child grows, goes through each day becoming more and more independent. Because the goal is that every individual is independent and is able to navigate the world on their own. So, nature's mandate, the mandate that nature has been given, is to ensure that your child learns and your child becomes independent in the most authentic way. Yes, in the most authentic way. So a time will come in the life of your child when nature will begin to pull your child to certain skills and certain will pull the child to certain skills and certain things in their environment that will allow the child learn what it takes to navigate through life. Nature will pull your child to understand different aspects of their environment, to understand different aspects of nature or what happens around them. Nature will pull the child naturally to develop the skills and the ability to navigate through life, the ability to thrive on their own. Yes. So nature will pull your child naturally, because nature's mandate is to ensure that your child grows, becomes independent, and can thrive in their environment by knowing how to navigate. When we say knowing how to navigate, it just simply means knowing what to do at what time, how to do it in order to maximize your potential and to make the best of the resources that are available to you. So, yes, when we say children can navigate, or when we say humans can navigate, what we are trying to say is this human being, this person knows what to do per time, how to do that thing per time, and how to utilize or harness the resources in their environment to optimize their productivity. So when you know what, how, and you know how to use what is available to you in your environment to make the best of every opportunity, so that you can thrive and you can operate at your maximal potential, then we say you know how to navigate through life. When you can solve the problems that come your way, as you go through life, life will throw all kinds of challenges at you. Your ability to surmount those challenges, your ability to create solutions for those challenges, your ability to solve the problems that you encounter and make the best of the situation is how we say that you can thrive. A person who cannot solve their problems, or cannot navigate through life, or cannot maximize the resources in their environment, is a person that is surviving. So the more we become the more we become able to maximize the resources in our environment, use them to the best of our ability, get the best results out of them, then we say this person can navigate. So when you are wholesome, you are able to navigate through different life situations. All right. And that is what we are trying to do for our children, or with our children. We're trying to raise them, skill them, give them opportunities, and of course, support them to learn how to navigate, to learn how to deal with life's situations or the challenges that life will throw at them, to deal with every situation that they find themselves in, right? To deal with whatever is in their way wherever they find themselves. So this is not just in your home or just in your small community, all right? If you are going to raise a child who can navigate through life, then it means that you're going to be raising a global citizen that can navigate wherever it is on this globe that they find themselves. So this is what we're talking about. And I said that nature's mandate from the day your child is born, nature has been mandated to help your child learn to be independent. Nature has been mandated to ensure that for every time or for every season of your child's life, nature is able to draw your child to learn or to get the best of what their capacity can take. So yes, when nature is ready, when your child's capacity can take organization, nature begins to draw your child to do the things that will help the child learn that organization skill. When it is time for language, when your child now has the capacity to learn language, nature begins to pull your child, right, to whatever it is around them that will help them speak and learn language. When is the task, the time for the child to learn movement? Nature will naturally pull your little child to start crawling. Have you ever wondered how you don't teach them to crawl, how you don't teach them to smile, how you don't teach them to eat, how you don't teach them to yawn, how you don't teach them to cough? You don't teach them any of these things. Nature automatically draws the child to learn or to know these things. So nature's mandate is to ensure that your child is independent. Now we are the ones who come and struggle and cause biases and cause barricades between the child and nature's pull. So when the child begins to jump around, that is nature saying, climb, jump down, so that those muscles will be strong. Okay, so our job at this point is to ensure that we create the right environment in our home, in our space, wherever it is that is safe for the child to deliver on what nature is calling the child to do. So, this is what we are talking about when we say there are windows of opportunity for learning at different phases, especially between 0 and 6. There are so many windows of opportunity for your children or for our children to learn the skills that they need to navigate. Okay? So when these skills come in easily in the most authentic way, after that, they just continue to build on these skills, and all of that. So if you pay attention during those early years or those early times, even if your child is now a young child or a preteen, all right, still pay attention. Pay attention to those times when the child is working alone, when the child is doing work. I hope you know that the child's job is to play. Play is the language of work for the child. So a lot of the time when your child is playing, your child is working. When your child is playing, your child is working. As a parent, it is your responsibility to become creative, how to use that natural pull to play to help the children learn skills. So skills should be woven into the play that your child is playing so that your child can learn in the most authentic way. Because remember, I said play is the work of a child. All right, your child's work is play. A child's work is to play. So in that play, make sure that you become creative enough to ensure that the skills that the child needs is part of the child's play. Because for the child, all the child is doing is playing. So when you get your children to do activities that can hold their attention, activities that the children will focus on, activities that will stimulate the child will be playing and the child will be learning the skills that it takes to achieve that activity. For instance, folding clothes. While you are doing that with your child, the child is playing. It is you that thinks the child is working. But then again, the child is actually working because play is the job or the work of a child. All right? So when you pay attention, you will see the things that they love to do, how they love to do, and all of that. All right? And there are different ways to figure this out. All right? If you are a parent of a young child and a toddler, right? You're a parent of a toddler, you're a parent of a young child, even a parent of a preteen. You want to pay attention, all right? In the next few weeks, we are going to come up with a new challenge. All right, that challenge is know how your child learns challenge. All right, so that challenge, we love to do challenges and we know how to deliver on challenges. Yes, if you were a part of our 30 days reading challenge, you will know that we know how to deliver on challenges. All right, so what we're going to do in this 21 days challenge, right? What we're going to do in the 21 days challenge in October is we are going to put together tons and tons and tons of activities that you will do with your children. Okay, while you are going through this, you are going to pay attention and you are going to see during the course of this period, it's going to unravel, you're going to be able to unravel how your child learns, because those activities will cater for all the learning styles. They will cater for all the learning styles. And by the time you go through 1 week, 2 weeks, by the second week, you would have seen the activities that your child is usually drawn to. At least you'll be able to put your finger on your child's dominant learning style. Now children can learn in the different learning styles. Basically, there is an element and we can actually train them, right, to learn even in this with these different elements. But you want to find out their dominant learning style, because when you are able to find that, it makes it easier for you to teach your children anything, from their schoolwork to learning how to do chores, cook, whatever it is that you want to teach your children. Just knowing how, sorry, I'm having hiccups. Just knowing how the child learns, the learning style that is dominant for that child is enough for you to pass whatever you want to teach that child through. And you will be amazed this works even for adults. All right, so you want to pay attention to and make sure that you be a part of that challenge, because our challenges don't come simple. You don't even want to imagine. You can't even imagine what it is that we are putting together for that challenge. But all I can say, our challenges are usually fun. Our challenges are usually fun. They will help you bond with your children. And of course, they will help you learn and the child learn. All right. And it's such an amazing way to get your child refocused on schoolwork, right, this school term. So by the time you finish that challenge throughout the month of October, you will realize that, I mean, during the month of October, you realize that in November, your child will be your child will be operating on a different level, right? Because at that point, your child would have been so stimulated, and you will know how to support them even more. And even the child will know what to do, right? Even the child will know what to do to enhance their learning, and you would know how to support the child better. All right, so let's go quickly through the learning styles that we have. All right, so there are four different major learning styles. All right, there are, of course, the school of thoughts that have more than four, five, sometimes six, sometimes. But we're going to be looking at the four major ones, that we've talked about over and over again. And then number one is visual, right? So your child could be a visual learner. When we say your child is a visual learner, it means that your child comprehends more when the child can see or create pictures of what it is that you are teaching the child. So as you teach, your visual learner is creating pictures, is creating charts in their head. All right, they need to bring whatever it is that you are teaching and put it in a way that they can see it in their minds for them to comprehend. All right, now if this is your learner, then there is a way to support this learner. All right, now also remember that as a parent, you are your child's first and most important teacher. Don't ever forget that. All right, put this at the back of your mind that you are your child first and their most important teacher. Now, the teacher in the classroom may not be able to do all of these things that we're talking about. Why is this? Because first of it depends on the kind of facility that your child goes to. If your child goes to a facility where some of these things we're talking about are too hybrid for them, or where they don't take these things into consideration, then you know that your child is not going to get what we are talking about. Nobody is going to pay attention to how exactly the child learns. Now, two, even in a school where they pay attention to these things, the closest you will get is that your child there will be differentiation in the room where your child is, or when your child has to learn. There will be differentiation in that your child will have to work with a group of people who probably learn the same way and all of that. Now, in that period, it depends on who the caregiver is. It could just be one teacher. You don't know. I mean, it could just be just one. I mean, it could be just one teacher in the classroom, or at the most two teachers and a minder. Probably one major teacher, a teaching assistant, and a minder. All right, I am saying it could be that. All right, now if that is the case, it means that your child may not get the kind of support that your child needs, even in that classroom where they understand to differentiate the children based on how they learn. But what I'm trying to say is that the teacher is likely going to be more overwhelmed than you, the parent, who has got one, two, three, or four children to deal with. All right. If your child's teacher has to deal with 20 children and you have to deal with just one, two, three, or four children, chances are you would deliver better, or you're able to support the children better than the class teacher who is overwhelmed. So, yes, children will go to school, they will learn in school. But do you know that you can do a lot for the child if you understand these things we're talking about and you are able to put it into practice? Do you know that just knowing their learning style, you can actually support them even when you do not really know the concepts that they are learning in school. Even when you are not even good, or you don't have good knowledge of that subject that the child is teaching. The system that you create around it for your child to learn, the system that you have put, understanding how the child learns and what you can do to, and I mean, to enhance their learning can be enough for your child to excel, right? Even without any extra support. Just you being there to, as their support system, being there to, support them with the resources and the environment, right, that they need to optimize their learning, because you understand how they learn and you understand how to support them to learn in that way. All right. So for that visual learner, you want to make sure that you provide resources that allows the child, right, to create visuals of what they are learning. So markers can be great, right? Colored pencils and markers can be great for this kind of child. Having a small whiteboard in the house where the child can, as they learn, can actually represent their learning on a board. The board can be exciting for children. The child just having to take the marker and make marks, make or trying to recreate what they are thinking in their head on the board can be exciting for the child. And you'll be amazed that that singular reason is the why behind your child wanting to learn every now and then. All right. Having resources in your home, like A4 paper and things like that, and keeping them in a way that the children, or in places where the children can access them, so that when the child is learning, the child can actually create while they are learning. This can also be very, useful. All right. Using video lessons for this kind of children. So yes, our son is more of, is this, visual is not his major learning style, but for our daughter, this is a major one for her. So it's pretty simple. When she comes home with stuff and we're learning at home, what we do is we create what I see, what it is that she's learning. What I do is I try to look for videos that reinforces what it is that she's learning in school. All right. So we can have her watch those videos of what it is that she's learning in school. We can together work and, recreate scenarios from their learning. All right. Role playing a scene, or role playing, some part of what they are learning. We can actually also have experiments, do experiments of what it is that they are learning. When you do this, you help your child create that picture. All right. For your visual child, you want to create more of experiences, create more and more experiences for the child. Now, those experiences take roots in their head. The child is able to store up those experiences, and then the experience becomes how the child remembers, or how the child recollects what it is that the child knows in that area. The use of flashcards, very important, especially for your younger children. All right. So you want to put this into consideration and use this when you're teaching your child who is a visual learner. All right. For your auditory child, you want to ensure that you have a lot of verbal expressions, right? You want to make sure that you have verbal communications with the child. So one thing that I do, my child is very audio. Okay. My Our son is auditory. All right. Our son is auditory. So I remember when he was much younger, he would come back from school and we had a routine when we are cooking. We go into the kitchen together to make meals. And when we are cooking, I would say to him, "How's school today? Can you share with me what it is that you learned in school?" And so we would talk, and while we're talking, I would ask questions. We will bounce, ideas. We will throw perspective on on something that he's talked about, and all of that. As we're bouncing that off and on, your child is listening and is soaking it in. Our son can actually sit down in a session. I remember he and I had to sit down to a session in a business class that he had attended, and we had a one-on-one session with his business coach at the time. All right. So while we were there, the coach was speaking and I had a notebook. By the time we were done with that session, I had written 2 pages. I kept on nudging him, right now, while we're talking. All right. But he was just there. He would just write, by the time we were done, he had written like 5, 6 lines. I had 2 pages. And I said to him, "How could that be the only thing that you wrote throughout the session?" The guy said so much. And he's like, "Yes, I listened and I heard him." And I'm like, "Okay, share with me." Right. And then he was like, "Do you want me to write it in my notes?" And I said, "Okay, go ahead and write it so that you don't forget. So next time you see it." Do you know that this boy started writing and he wrote 3 pages? Like he wrote 3 pages just listening to this guy. All right, so that's it. So you need to focus and you need to pay attention so that you're not forcing your child to learn in a way that the child does not learn. All right, in a way that the child does not optimize learning. So for this group of children, you want group discussions. You want to get them into group discussions. We have that in my home where we read a book and we review the book together as a family. So while we're reviewing the books, it's like a group discussion, everybody discussing. This kind of children would do well listening to podcasts, right? Audiobooks, and then of course have a teach back system where they learn and then you tell them to teach you. Or you teach them something, you talk about something and all of that, and then you say to them, let's recount, or teach me what it is that you have learned from this session. Great for this group of children. So you want to do that if you're supporting your child at home. You should be supporting your child at home, dear parents. For your kinesthetic learner wants to move. Your kinesthetic learner wants to touch. Your kinesthetic learner learns when he moves. If he's not moving, then learning is not happening, because learning is energy for your kinesthetic learner. So you want to ensure that energy is part of their learning process. All right. So for your kinesthetic learner, you want to create an environment where the child can easily access whatever it is that they learn, that they need for their learning. All right. You want to ensure that you create or you have resources for the child to create what it is that the child has learned in school. Your kinesthetic learner is very hands-on. So he wants to create models, he wants to draw, he wants to paint, he wants to, when you review with this kind of children, don't ask too much of them to write. You want to ask them to create pictures or drop pictures of what it is that they understood from what it is that they learned. They're able to, just anything that means them moving their hands, moving their body, moving their legs, just moving. That's how your kinesthetic learner works, and that's how he learns. All right, you want to pay attention to this. All right, the next one is your writing and reading child. All right, this is where a lot of us belong to, where we read, and while we're reading, we're writing, where we're listening to you, and where you are talking, we're writing. So for this group of children, you need to give them opportunity. You want to make sure that they always have journals, you always have jotters around, you always have those A4 sheets also for them to use and put down what it is that they are learning. For your read and write child, right? Your read and write child, of course, while you are teaching, while you are working with them, you want to give them opportunities to write down step by step. So teach this kind of children in step by step manner. All right. What you want to teach them, make sure that you are teaching them step by step. Okay, this is step one, this is what you do. And then give them a chance to write it down. Step two. So whatever you're teaching your read and write child, teach it in steps. This is what we do first. This is what we do next. And then next, make sure that they have grabbed what to do in the first step and they have written it down. Okay, so teach them in 4 steps, and the first step, and then step away or give them the opportunity to note down what it is that you have taught. Come back and ask. All right, come back and ask. Okay, did you get that? All right, could you repeat to me what it is that is in step 1? You will realize that they've captured it and they can repeat it to you. They'll probably read it to you, or something, because they have already written it down. Then you go to the next steps. So you want to take breaks when you are teaching your child who writes and, the read and write kind of learner. You want to take breaks while you are at it, and then of course you want to give them the chance, right, to write and all of that. Journaling works for this group of children. So you want to help them cultivate the habit of journaling. All right, cultivate the habit of journaling. Help them list things. When you are teaching them, write and teach them, right, in a way that things are listed. Okay, so when you're doing step by step, you're also doing listing. Help them list and all of that. This group of children work with books. So refer them to books. While they're doing one thing or they're learning one thing, refer them to another book or another material where they can get more resources or where they can get more information from. All right, this kind of children are likely, or this kind of learners are likely, right, to go and go to the reference material and all that. And then, of course, at the end of a lesson or the end of what you have taught them, you want to tell this kind of learners to give an essay or write what it is that you have taught them. All right, you want them to summarize. Tell this kind of learners to do a lot of summary. So when you have finished teaching, you have taught in step-by-step manner, okay, you have done a lot of listing in your conversation with them. You want to say to them, okay, I would like you to summarize what it is that you have learned, or what it is that you've been taught, or what it is you understand from what it is that we have just learned. All right, this kind of learners would write essays, all right, and all of that. All right, so yes, 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 it's already time. All right, it's even 5 minutes past our time, and so this is where we come to the end of um this week's series, right? We've answered 4 questions throughout this week. You want to check in the you want to check in the group, or you want to check in the YouTube channel, right, for this week's episodes. If you have not been following us, you will see all of the questions that we've answered. We talked about how you can support your child when you are not a teacher. A parent asked us that. All right, so you want to go and catch that replay also. All right, so yes, how you can help your child to I can't even remember all that we did this week, but yes, how you can help your child set goals. I think so. How can I help my child or my preteen see the goals, focus on the goals, and see it through? We talked about that also. So this week we've talked about, we've centered around learning and how to help our children learn effectively, and how to help our children be the best versions of themselves, especially when it has to do with their learning, whether that learning is academic or in other areas of learning. We want to raise children who are wholesome. So we want to raise children who are learning and are educated in all areas. Thank you very much. We do all of these things, all the things that we talk about here are part of our curriculum in the Mastermind Circle. All right, all of these are part of our curriculum in the Mastermind Circle. And so this is how we teach the children. In all of the things that we do in the Mastermind, we pay attention to the fact that we have our visual learners, we have our kinesthetic learners, we have our read and write learners, and of course, we have our auditory learners. We put this into all that we do with the children in the Mastermind Circle, and we help the children understand, who they are, how they learn, by pointing them to their hobbies, so that through their hobbies they also know how it is that they learn best. If you want your child to be a part of us in the Mastermind Circle, because it is such a great foundation ground. So if you have your child between 6 and 13, they should be with us in the Mastermind Circle. It's such a vibrant community, a tribe of children growing together. All right. So you want to get them in the Mastermind Circle. All right. To be a part of it, we have the information scrolling on your screen right now. We just started a new cohort this September, and we are still gaining momentum. So we're still gaining momentum. Setting our goals and creating plans for those goals. So this is a great time for your child to hop in and join us. This is a great time for that. All right, so why don't you take the opportunity and jump in and have your child working with us in the Mastermind Circle? It will be such a great experience for the child, and it will be such a blessing to you, because we will be partnering with you to support your child effectively. You want to take that opportunity. All right, so go ahead and use the information. You can also get the information in the comment section after this video, or in the description on YouTube, so that you get all of the information. Did I tell you that it costs you less than 66,000 naira in a month? I didn't say in a day. It actually costs you less than 6,000 naira in a month to have your child in a Mastermind Circle. That brings it to about 70,000 in an entire year. And we will be working with your child for a whole 365 days. I'm not talking about 1 month. That's what you pay your lesson teacher for, what? 1 month? That's what you get to pay for your child to have one of the best experience of learning and building the foundation, right, for an entire year. All right, so if I were you, I would grab it. If I were you, I would so grab it, because you will be glad you did. Thank you for joining us. We will see you on Monday again, when we come back on a whole week of answering questions. How can I help my child? Or how can I support my child? How can I support my child series? Thank you again. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you on Monday again. Bye. Bye now.